Welcome back to Bright Violet Arts. My name is Valerie, and today I am setting up my bullet journal for the month of October 2021. My theme is going to be a mashup of wildflowers and plaid patterns, so I think it's going to turn out really cute. Okay, this is my notebook from Archer and Olive. It is 160 pages. I've been using it since July 1st, and I am hoping to get October, November, and December into this same notebook. I'm going to be using a bunch of pens today. I've got some Tombow markers, Crayola Super Tips, and a couple of calligraphy pens that I'll be using for coloring and calligraphy. I'm also using a few Posca pens and a white gel pen, 3 fine liners in 5, 3, and 1 sizes. That's a quick peek back at my September page, and I'm going to jump right in with some torn craft paper. So as I said in the intro, my theme is going to be kind of a mashup of little drawings of wildflowers with the plaid pattern that I'm going to make as a background for some of the pages, just with my brush markers. So I'm going to fill this little jar up with what I thought looked kind of like fall style wildflowers and little vines and leaves and stuff. I didn't want it to be like a summery wildflower, so I kind of went with a more muted, earthy sort of color palette, and I hope they look, very autumnal when they were put together with the craft paper. On the right side of this spread, I'm drawing in a plaid pattern with my Tombow dual tip brush markers. The most difficult part about drawing a plaid pattern with brush markers is just managing to keep a steady hand and keeping your lines pretty straight. But I found that some of the wiggles in the lines actually did add to the hand-drawn, homespun kind of appeal of the plaid. So I was pretty happy with how they came out, and I didn't mind that the lines aren't 100% straight. Another motif that I'm going to repeat throughout this setup is the hand-drawn stationery, like 3-dimensional shadowed stationery that I'm going to put, information and quotes and pictures and stuff on. So here I was just stamping my miniature calendar. The stamp landed on its edge. It was a bujo miracle. I'm going to use this Pentel sign pen in the brush tip. The color is yellow ochre, and I'm going to use that for my October lettering throughout the monthly setup on most of the pages. It's a really pretty pen. I couldn't get enough of it. I also used it for coloring in some of my flowers and berries on the botanical illustrations along the way. Alright, so I'm going to move on to my calendar spread here. Again, using the same lettering from the cover page and the craft paper element. I'm also doing a similar illustration. What I loved about the Crayola Super Tip that I used to color in the water is that it was running out of ink, so it just put natural highlights in the water when I colored with it. It was just perfect timing. Another bujo miracle. Here I'm adding drop shadows to the floating boxes that I've used for the calendar squares this month. Each square is 5 by 5 dot grid spaces, and that's a good size for me because I like to sometimes, put maybe 2 appointments or even, 3 things maybe in the same square, so this gives me enough room. So next up is the habit tracker spread, only I'm going to do it a little bit different. Normally I do goals, habits, and tasks all in one spread. But this time I'm gonna skip the goals and instead just call it a focus. Like for me, my focus is gonna be an overarching attention to my health and to a diet plan that I've been on. So that's gonna be my focus, and I'm gonna choose things for my habits that support that focus. So when I put my habit calendars in, I'm gonna select things like working out, stretching, taking my medication, things like that. Stamping out my habit trackers now, and I'm being a little more careful with my stamp this time. If you have been around the channel before and you saw my September plan with me, you might remember that I did a social media posting tracker, like a content planner, in my September setup, and I'm going to repeat the exact same setup for the October planner. So this gives me, of course, a place to list where I am posting, like which platform and what kind of content, but it also gives me a tracker for growth that shows my followers and subscribers and a couple other stats as well. So that's a fun thing to look at and keep track of. And on the opposite side of the same spread, I am putting in a space for, the equivalent of a brain dump. I just call it a notes page where I can make note of anything that is on my mind or that I need to jot down in a hurry. I made good use of a similar page in September, so I brought it back as well for this month. I'm starting in on the first weekly spread here. I'm going to be doing 4 weekly spreads this month, and they're all going to have different designs. Adding in a plaid background behind all the stationery and the daily boxes. Okay, week 2 is going to be similar in that they're all going to have the 6 vertical boxes for 5 days of the week plus 1 shared for the weekend. I have to steal a quote from Elsa because, reasons. Week 3 has another plaid background. I really liked this spread. This might be my favorite weekly spread from the month. and I'm on to the final weekly. I did manage to sneak in one Halloween themed quote next to the date for Halloween on the final weekly spread. Okay, and so for the last spread of the October setup, I'm going to do a memory and reflection page. Here are my October favorites, and they generally refer to entertainment favorites like songs, TV, film, and my favorite YouTubers. Last month, and for the last several months, my favorite YouTuber has been Julianne Doodles, and I will link her channel in my description box for anybody who's interested in checking her out. And that's it for my final spread of October, so we can jump into a quick flip through of the whole month. So thanks again for checking out Bright Violet Arts today and watching this video. It does make me so happy to be able to share my journal online and on social media with you guys. So I appreciate everyone who takes the time to take a look. You can also find me on Instagram at Bright Violet Arts. And if you enjoyed the video today, I really hope you'll give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing to the channel for more bullet journal videos from me. Well, that's all I've got today for this journal setup, but thank you so much for stopping by, and happy journaling.